is no transistor either.
So many guys also yelling. Good, good. There is hope in India.
But I'm very happy at the same time.
You know, thanks to him, Marconi, the inventor of transistor, actually now has got recognition finally. You know, Aamir, starting...
Salman, I think, is responsible for this. He was much before me in these packs.
Yeah, that's also true. But you also take some credit for it.
Well, I mean, you know, I find working out really difficult. It's very, very painful and not something I enjoy. But, you know, I do it for my roles, for my films. Yeah.
You know,
Well, you know, I often feel that I'm not really someone who can tell you guys what to do. I think that you all know your own minds well enough, and I don't think that they really need to be told what to do. What I can share for sure is what has been important to me. And I think each one of us, you know, finds our own path. So what has been important to me, which I'd like to share with you, is that I've always believed in following my dreams. And I don't know how that happened. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but I think it also happened because I'm very passionate about whatever I do, whether it's my work, which is films, whether it's playing a sport, whether it's, you know, hanging out with my friends, whether it's having an argument, whether it's, you know, laughing about something. I'm very, very passionate about everything. And I give my entire attention and full, everything about me is in that one thing that I'm doing at that time. So, I think that what has been very important for me is that I don't want to compromise with what I want to do. What is my dream? I don't mind compromising to achieve my dream. But I don't want to compromise the dream itself. So that is something that I've always believed in. I believe that, you know, all through my career I've been told that he's not going to last for more than a year. Because of the kind of, you know, I've picked very unusual films, I worked in a very unusual way, while the rest of the industry at that time, when I came in 25 years ago, was doing 30 films at one time. Actors were doing 30 films at one time. I started doing, you know, like 3 films, and then I came down to 1 film. And everyone thought, okay, yeah, this guy is nuts, you know. And everyone who I knew and who even cared for me always told me that, you know, I think you're making a mistake. And this is a fascinating thing. Right through my life, every important decision of mine, all the people who are important to me and who are close to me have always told me, you're making a mistake. Don't do this. I've always been told.
So that's a good benchmark.
No. I appreciate the fact that people who are close to me are concerned about me. I appreciate the fact that they care for me and they're worried for me. But what I've always been happy about myself is that I've always done what I believed in. So I'll give you 2-3 examples. When I was in the 12th, that's when I decided that I want to learn about filmmaking and cinema. So I told my family, my friends, everyone around me that, you know, I want to start working as an assistant director and start learning about filmmaking. Everybody I knew at that time, my parents of course freaked out. You know, to be a graduate, you could leave your studies, it was halla ho gaya tha ghar mein. And my uncles and aunts, they were all like, you know, you can't do this. My cousins, people my age who I thought would understand me, my friends said, yaar, jo bhi hai, graduation to kar le. Do what you want. You want to be an actor, you want to be a filmmaker, do what you want, but at least be a graduate. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, why? If I want to be a doctor, do I study commerce? No, I study medicine. If I want to be an engineer, I study engineering. If I want to be a filmmaker, I want to study filmmaking. Why on earth should I waste time studying something else when I'm very clear that this is my goal? So, no, because you need a paper which says you're a graduate. That's what was told to me. I said, no, I don't need a paper. I don't need someone to tell me what I know. I know what I know. And if I need to know something, I'll learn about it. So I was very clear that this is what I want to do. So I didn't listen to anyone. I didn't listen to my friends, I didn't listen to my family, I just did what I wanted to do. Because I feel that if I'm clear about what I want to do, and I'm honest about it, and I'm sincere about it, and the reasons why I'm doing it is clear to me, then I must follow my instinct. Because I'd rather, even if I had to go wrong tomorrow, I'd rather go wrong on my instincts. I don't want to go wrong on somebody else's advice. If I've taken a wrong step, I'll deal with it, I'll learn, it'll be a learning experience for me. So, right through my life, I've noticed that there's been times when people who are close to me and who care about me have told me, you're doing the wrong thing. And I've always felt that I've listened to them very carefully. I've never ignored them. But I finally did what I felt like doing. And that's one thing that when I look back today, after 25 years of being a professional, I feel that that's one thing that I feel happy about. That I lived on my terms. See, today I'm successful. I may not have been successful. I may not have been successful. I didn't know I was going to be successful. But I'm happy that I lived on my terms. And I'm happy that I never compromised. Whenever I was offered something I was not happy with, I didn't do it.
But you know, exactly as an extension to...
I mean, for me, I have always worked the same way. So, I'm aware that when you look at me from afar, you might feel that, oh, up till here he was doing this and then suddenly he changed. That maybe Lagan is that changing point or the turning point, if you want to identify one. But for me, it wasn't even that. I have always done what I believed. So even the films that have not worked or have not turned out that way, I believed in them. And they are mistakes which I own. And I hold them very close to me because I feel that, in fact, I have learned the maximum from my failures. My failures have taught me the most. And so I really value my failures. Whatever I am today is not only because of my successes, but also because of my failures. Whatever I've learned through my failures. And so I have always done what I believed in. And I continue to do that. I think the one big changing point for me, or the turning point for me, was when I did Satyameva Jayate for television. And that's not part of film. That's not part of fiction or entertainment. It's part of life. And that was a big turning point for me. I think that was one specific step I took away from what I was otherwise doing. And that kind of came about. Again, that didn't come about overnight. It came about over years and years of thinking, struggling internally. You read the papers, you read about injustice, you read about people who are less privileged than you, and you feel disturbed, you feel horrible sometimes, you feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel helpless. A lot of emotions we go through when we come to know what's happening around us. And I used to feel that, why can't I do something about it? I need to do something about it. So I would, I would do donations, I would give out money. That is not what, it wasn't enough for me, I felt. And there's another thing. One person has had a big influence on my life. My very close friend Satyajit Bhatkar, who happens to be the director of Satyameva Jayate. He and I were in school together, Satya and I. And Satya was the guy who always took first in class. The topper, the front bencher. I was the back bencher who kind of was, floating around. But we became friends. Satya and I became friends.
Because you wanted his notes.
No. Because what happened is, what he could never get over was that we played a game of chess once. And he lost to me. So since then he was like, first class to main aata hu, class mein ye meko chess mein kaise hara sakta hai? So he used to, when we became we became friends because of that, and then we kind of stuck together. But what I'm trying to say is that Satya was a person who had the world in front of him. He was a topper, he could do anything. Anything means anything. Really sharp guy. And when he came out of school, he went into social service. He went into coming out with newspapers that no one would read, and he was doing all kinds of things. And I used to feel, क्या ये अपनी life बर्बाद कर रहा है? इतना bright future इस लड़के का, और ये अपनी life बर्बाद कर रहा है. But he was very passionate about what he was doing. He was very angry about the injustice happening to people who are not as privileged, and he would fight for them, and he would do all kinds of things. He would go and stand outside railway stations and give out flyers to people to read. कि देखो ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. No one used to listen to him. But he used to keep doing that. He used to keep doing that. And I used to look at him, and whenever I met him, I used to feel guilty. Whenever I met him, I used to feel guilty. Because we are the same age, we began from school together. My career is going up with each film. I'm getting a bigger success, I'm getting more popular. And each time I meet him, he tells me, there was this thing we went for, and these political guys came and they beat us up and all that. But it doesn't matter, अब वो पिट भी रहा है, वो डंडे भी खा रहा है, वो बेचारा पैसे भी नहीं कमा रहा है. तो I used to feel, ये बंदा बड़ा कमाल का है, और मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं फजूल हूँ यार.
You played chess, I remember.
No, I said, I felt like, I'm not doing enough. When I used to look at him, I used to feel guilty. Okay, what am I doing? So this kind of grew in me, this feeling of wanting to do something grew in me. And then it came out through Satyam Vijay. Because finally, I think at that time when I came to the film industry, there was no television also. There was Doordarshan. And, now television is so strong, there are so many channels, Star Network has got such a big reach. So it kind of came together somehow. The timing was right. I was mature enough as a person. I had seen life to a certain degree. I was ready for it. Importantly, Satya, his wife Swati and Lancy, the three of them, had been working in the social sector for 25 years. They'd been journalists, they'd been working in the social sector. Satya became a lawyer eventually. The work that they had been doing for 25 years. Without that work, you cannot do Satyam Vijay, if you know what I'm trying to say. So, it kind of came, होता ना वो eclipse के time पे वो sun, moon और earth वो एक line में आते हैं.
Timing, some
timing था. So it happened, it happened. But it was something that was growing in me for many years. It was growing in me for many years and finally culminated
in Satyam
Vijay. And I have to say that that's one of the things that has given me the most satisfaction. I've done films which have been extremely popular. I've done films which have been huge successes. But strangely, today wherever I go, and I have big successes as recently as those three, people are only interested in Satyam Vijay. Wherever I go, they're only interested in Satyam Vijay. I'm saying remote places. I land up in Junjunu, which is a small place in Rajasthan, and the media that meets me there is only asking me about Satyam Vijay.
This is giving me hope. I'm giving a hope in mind. Because I believe you can't remain in isolation of each other. And therefore, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of chairmen, managing directors of companies over the last 10 years. And I have seen you always talking about this part of your business.
You want an opportunity, you want a credible platform. And when you get that, it's great. And if there's no such thing, you build your own platform. Is that business from that angle?
Of certain things. But then there are certain things that emerge and say, oh, this is possibly the best way to do it. Are there any two stories that you can share with us which give an idea of the impact so that people also know what they're understanding?
Impact is separate. I mean, there has been huge impact in the country because of our show, and I'm really happy about that. But I won't go into that. What I'll talk about is my two biggest learnings. My two biggest learnings from this experience of researching these various topics, meeting people from across the country. In each topic I end up meeting about 20 people, and they're from different parts of the country. It's been a fascinating experience, huge learning experience. And the two big learnings for not only me but the entire team has been, one is that if India, if our society has to ever prosper and it has to ever, go beyond what our expectations are, or reach where we all wanted to reach, that we dream of, then the one thing that we need to change is that we need to look at everyone and say that we're all equal. So girls especially, women, girls from the time that they are born, first of all, half the time we want to kill them before they're born. If they are born, then they're not fed as much as boys are. They're not given the same kind of education as boys are. They're not kind of given the same health care as boys are. I'm not saying in every family that happens, but by and large that is happening on a fairly large scale. They're not given the same teachings as boys are. They're not given the same freedom, the same independence to do what. So it's a very unfair situation. Now you look at this, it's half the population of our country, roughly, girls. So we are literally saying that half the population को हम लोग हाथ पाथ पाँव बांध के उनको रख देंगे और बाकी के आधे लोग हम लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे. ऐसे नहीं होता. If we have to be strong as a society, all of us have to be strong. My sister will give me strength. My daughter will give me strength. My wife will give me strength. So I'm saying that this is a very important aspect. One of the biggest learnings is that we have to treat women as our equals and start empowering the girl child. So that is my number one learning. Inequality, we also, because in our society, unfortunately, we have the caste system, so equality also plays a big role in that. So the day we realize that, we are all human beings, we are all equal, and let's hold hands and move together, and let's give strength to each other. Let me make you more powerful, because if you're more powerful, I'm helped in the long run.
It's a tug of war theory.
I don't know. I mean, actually, when Abhijit requested me, I said yes because I felt it's an opportunity for me to talk to you guys. And I was happy to do that. I don't know how inspiring I am. I don't like to assume too much about myself. But if I'm able to excite you guys, then I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Well, you know, everyone has their own contribution. Please sit. I think everyone has their own contribution to make. I'm a communicator. That's what my skill sets are. So I'm using my knowledge and skill sets to do what I can do to contribute. I think that you are an architecture student, for example. If you can, first of all, I want to tell you that you should tell your parents that you can bring about a great change. I mean, one of the simple things that you can do, and I'm sure you will, is you know, in most of our constructions and design, in most of our designs, we don't even think of people who are disabled. None of our buildings, you know, government buildings, post office, if I'm a person who can't walk or who can't see, I find it impossible to go anywhere. So that's something that you can contribute, you can make that change. Whenever you design something, you can make sure that you incorporate that into your design. So all of us have something to contribute. So you tell your parents that you're going to make a change.
We'll keep that as the end. We'll keep that as the end.
Finally.
Yeah. Before we leave, yeah? After that, the lady at the back, yeah.
Good evening, Aamir sir.
Yeah, hi.
Vishal sir.
Hi, Vishal. What inspires you?
What is
Wake
your
up in the
belief?
morning and go
What is
for
your
it.
belief? What is your cause that pushes you every day to wake up and work with that energy? I think that would inspire us.
You put me on the spot. See, for me personally,
Please sit. I actually, right through my life, I've been, you know, changing myself. Each time I come across a situation where I feel, this is not what I'm doing right. I don't think I'm doing the right thing over here. I stop myself and say, I need to change this about me. So for example, some years back, I would, you know, when I'm having a shower, I would be singing and, you know, doing my lines. And I said, wait a minute, I'm just wasting so much water here. You know, this is like really a big, huge waste of water. I'm learning my lines under the shower. So that's one change I brought on myself straight away, there and then. You know, the realization that you're doing something wrong should immediately prompt you into changing something in yourself. Sometimes it's small things, sometimes it's big things. You know, sometimes it's a realization that what you were thinking is not, you know, not something that you're very proud of any longer. So that person who's constantly changing is alive. Only dead people don't change. One of the challenges was that the people who make up our show, the men and women who come on our show and speak to us, their stories and what they are is hugely important to us. And that is something that we try and always remember and make sure that we never ignore. That the people are above everything for us. That is something that we always have treated as a challenge. Because sometimes in your you know, as creative people, as communicators, in your urge to communicate, sometimes we can get insensitive in trying to communicate what we want to. So in this case, our effort was to tell ourselves that no, but that is fine, we will communicate, but this person right now who's in front of us is the most important person. And so that is one of the challenges. I think the other challenge was, of course, that India is such a large country and we speak multiple languages. So how do you communicate on a broad level with everyone? So we went into multiple languages. Our show comes out and it's dubbed in, I think, 3 or 4 other languages. It's subtitled in another 2 or 3 languages. So these were the kind of challenges that we had, I think, in assembly. Challenges of communication, basically. Just don't listen to them.
No, but you need that
but
approval.
Aamir, there's a
Communication.
You have to fight it and you have to find your own way. I think when I got into my career as an actor, in the early years of my career, I was also not a very, in fact, after my first success, the next few films I had were not very successful. I went through an initial stage of a number of films of mine not doing well. They were not even very good films, I'm afraid. So, that was a tough time for me. And at that time, I would face similar challenges where I wanted to do something and I was unable to because people wouldn't listen to me or people didn't have faith in me, they didn't trust me. So all of us go through that. But I feel that there's no other way and there is no easy way and there is no magic way to get through it. You have to be convinced about what you feel and fight it. Importantly, never compromise with what you believe in. I think that's the one thing that I have lived by. And I'll give you an example. I don't know how many, because you all are very young, you probably don't know about this. Very early in my career, my first film came out, Kya Se Kya, the big hit. Then a number of films came out, were not very good. The media labeled me as a one-film wonder. And rightly so. I had a number of films which I was working on, which I was not very happy with. Because I was very inexperienced at that time. So I took on films and took on scripts. And then realized that, hey, wait a minute, the director is the most important. I may have liked the story, I may have liked the script, but if the director is not good, he's going to take us to the cleaners. It's like this. When the script is being narrated to you, and the scene is एक खूबसूरत पहाड़ियों में, so you're imagining Kashmir or Ooty. The director is imagining Khandala, and the producer is saying, यार film city में भी 2-3 अच्छे पहाड़ हैं यार, वहाँ कर लेते हैं. तो आपका imagination कहीं और है, बाकी लोग कहीं और है. So these were the learning stages for me, at that time. I went through a period which was professionally my toughest period, where my films had started flopping one after the other. I knew that my upcoming films, the next 3-4 films also, are not going to do very well. And at that time I was desperate. It was like I was in quicksand. Daldal mein phasa tha, and I was sinking. And I needed someone to help me, to pull me out. I needed a big announcement. I needed someone, a successful director, to sign me. If that happens, then my next 3 flops also will be absorbed. Arey yaar, uski wo wali film aa rahi hai. I needed a successful director to sign me. I got a call from Mr. Mahesh Bhatt. Bhatt Saab at that time was at the absolute peak of his career. He had made a film called Saransh, which was very successful. He had made Arth, and then Naam. Top. He was like at the peak. Very hot director. He said, I have a film for you. I went to his house. Sorry, there's a slight background to this I need to tell you. While I was shooting for these films at that time, Abhijit, I used to cry at night. Because I had got into these films based on what I thought the script should turn out to be. But when I began working on them, I realized what a big mistake I had made. I used to go home and I used to cry. My first wife, Reena, she used to look at me, she didn't know what to do. And I used to cry because I was so unhappy with the work I was doing. I was really unhappy with the work I was doing. And I swore to myself, I said, my career is going down. My films are not doing well. The coming few films are also not going to do well. But I swear I will never take on a film ever in my life until I'm happy with it. Until I'm happy from inside, I will not say yes to a film. I swore to myself. Cut to Bhatt Saab ka phone aaya. Okay? I went to meet him. He narrated the story to me. Now when Bhatt Saab's phone came, I was so excited. I said, Bhatt Saab has called me, man. This announcement will get me out. Just this announcement will get me out. I went to hear the script. I heard the script, I didn't like it. I heard the script, I didn't like it. He said, what do you think? I said, sir, can I have one day to think about it? Yeah, no problem. Come and see me tomorrow. I went home. I didn't know what to do here. I didn't know what to do. Am I supposed to do this film? I don't like it. I don't like the story. I'm not happy with it. But if I say yes, my career gets saved. My career is getting wiped out. stuck in the daldal, it's coming till here, now I've got this someone giving a hand, I have to just hold the hand, I'll be out of it. And I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to take that hand. Because I've sworn to myself, I will never do anything unless I'm happy. So I go back the next day and I tell Bhatt Sahab, and these are my words to him, I say, Bhatt Sahab, I'm nobody right now to say no to you. And probably after hearing my answer, you'll probably never work with me in your life. But the fact is that I'm not happy with this story. It doesn't connect with me emotionally, so I cannot do this film. I just cannot do it. I know I'm being foolish, but I cannot be dishonest to myself. He was very encouraging. He said, no problem, don't worry. We'll do some other film together. The point I'm trying to make is that at that time, if I had compromised, for the rest of my life I would have been compromised. See, you get tested when you're at your worst. When I'm successful, I'm not tested here. It is when you're not successful, when you're up against the wall, when the stakes are against you, that is when you're tested. At that time, do you break? Do you say, nahi yaar, I have to be safe? You know, like a lot of us feel, yaar, paise to aa jayenge. You think of these compromises. Never compromise with what you believe in, what makes you happy. Never. That is too valuable. It is too valuable. And that decision that I took that day, I don't know where I got the courage from to go and say I'm not doing it. Because I was like, I'm committing suicide, harakiri. But that decision not saved me, gave me the strength. Okay, at my worst, if I did not compromise, so I'll never compromise in my life. I'll only do what makes me happy. So it's a fight, you know. It's a fight. When you want to do something, you know, you come across different things. But you have to say that this is what I believe in, and I'm not going to shift from here. And then there are many instances where I, you know, like went against people. I took a stance. You know, I did things all on these same beliefs. And sometimes you lose the battle. You know, sometimes you lose the battle. But you have to stick to your guns. That's what I believe.
Sir, I would also like to share that I think I had heard you in an interview on my channel, so I would like to thank you for putting that in me, and I've travelled India for sure.
That's amazing.
Thank you to you.
That's amazing. You know, that's one thing I want to tell you guys, that when Imran said, you know, what should I do? I want to become an actor. I want to become an actor. And a lot of youngsters come and tell me, I want to be an actor. I tell all of them, take a backpack, grab a few friends. Sometimes it's not safe to go alone. Grab a few friends. Look after your safety. Tell your parents, drop me in Kashmir. And after 1 year, pick me up in Kanyakumari. वो एक साल में, you look after yourself. Travel across the country, go from village to village, town to town. Meet people. Learn how to deal with people. Learn how to deal with situations. That will teach you everything you need to know. You don't have to go to college after that. You don't have to learn anything. It will teach you marketing. It will teach you everything. सब आपको वो एक साल में समझ आ जाएगा. And thank you so much.